I said earlier, I'm one half of the Mindful Tech Club. Outside of this, I'm the founder of Trampoline Health. We're a mental wellness gym focused on helping people with digital addiction, like things social media, gaming, and so on. We have a Chrome extension, iOS app, and host in-person events here in Miami. The other half of the Mindful Tech Club is Sarah. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey, y'all. Some of you already know different parts of me, but I am a certified psychedelic integration coach, and I am a psychosynthesis coach in training through the Psychospiritual Institute, which is how I know Ariana. And it's been such a beautiful journey. So I also founded Psyche Path Coaching. So that's my private coaching practice. And this Mindful Tech Club has been something that's been in my head for over 6.5 years. And as somebody who I felt for my age group earlier on in the let's get off of social media trend, it was really hard to build community, but now I feel like there's a lot more traction. So yeah, I'm really passionate about this because I was addicted to social media for many, many, many years, over 8 years. So I want to help others in this space. And I'll let Fernando introduce more about the Mindful Tech Club.
Yeah, so through the Mindful Tech Club, we look to create community and give people support. Like Sarah said, it's also something that I really struggled with. So we want to be there and to support other people going through that same journey. Through the Mindful Tech Club, we are offering immersive 6-week cohorts so that people can learn these skills together and reset their relationship, kind of like break up with their phone and reconnect with real life. We also look to offer coaching and a few other things. But the idea is that we'll help you slow down, reconnect, and build better tech habits over the 6 weeks or through other programs that we look to offer in the future.
Yes, so now I'm going to introduce the amazing Ariana. And like I said, she is in the Psychospiritual Institute. She works there. She's a mentor and also a teacher. So that's how I know her. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, share any fun facts that you want to share, and then we'll jump into the exercise. And for somebody just joined, please get a pen and paper or a journal. So this is going to involve pen and paper.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. So good to be here. So yes, my name is Ariana Vallejo, and I have been in the field of coaching and guiding since 2019, shortly after my son was born. And my background actually began in herbal medicine and holistic wellness coaching. And I came to realize a very curious pattern that I saw happening over and over again with my clients. They were coming to me with physical imbalances, something going on with their body most often. And through our work together and follow-ups and really digging into the root cause of their physical ailments, almost always we were discovering something emotional, psychological, or spiritual at the root. And that was my initiation into increasing my tools and looking into other ways and other modalities. And that's what brought me to the Psychospiritual Institute to take that training as a student first, and very soon after joining the team. I'm going on 5 years with them now as a student mentor and one of the lead facilitators. And it's just such beautiful, life-changing, rich work. And so what I love about psychosynthesis, this is what we're learning, what we're teaching here at Psychospiritual Institute. And what I love about psychosynthesis is that it really up-levels our ability to make choices that are aligned with our highest callings and what we know to be deeply true for us. So just to give a little nutshell background about psychosynthesis, this is a transpersonal psychology. You can also think of that word transpersonal as being interchangeable with the word spiritual or soulful. And this transpersonal psychology is the first of its kind. It's the roots of the human potential movement. And it was brought into the world by an Italian psychiatrist in the early 1900s named Dr. Roberto Assagioli. And Assagioli was a visionary, and he was just years and years ahead of his time. He was colleagues with Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, and he was very close in on the cutting edge of psychoanalysis, which is, the standard method of psychology that you would be receiving if you went to see a classically trained psychotherapist. This was Freud's work. And Assagioli was studying and researching and actually getting together with Freud and having conversations. And he said that psychoanalysis was really limited in its capacity and that it was stuck in the basement of the psyche. So what he meant by that was psychoanalysis really looked at pathologizing all of our human conditions, right? And really focusing on those quirks and pathologies and isms. And Assagioli said, that basement of the psyche is essential. We have to go down there to discover more of who we are and heal. But it's just one dimension of who we are, and it leaves out this incredibly important other aspect of our psychology, and that is what he called the terrace above the basement, where we gaze at the heavens and bathe in the sun. And he was alluding to the spiritual dimension and who we are as souls having a human experience. And so, in a catchy, snappy one-liner, you could say psychosynthesis is a marriage of science and psychology with spirituality. It's really, really beautiful, powerful work. And I'm just in love with it. And just to kind of put a sweet bow on top of that intro to psychosynthesis, I'll leave you with a quote from Assagioli. He said, "We must learn to live as souls on earth." It's all about bringing a soul infusion into our everyday lives. It's not about becoming this ascended, disembodied, bypassing spirit. And it's also not about being completely driven by our impulses and our addictions and our personality traits that maybe limit us, but it's about how do we create synthesis so that who we are in our everyday lives is the best version that we can be. And this is a very realistic frame of the best version we can be. There's a lot of compassion and grace built into the work. So I just want to express my gratitude for Sarah and Fernando having me today. I just really deeply resonate with the mission of the Mindful Tech Club. There's a lot of resonance here for me around, communities and places where we can strive to bring as much wellness, joy, and purpose into our lives in this context of the modern world that we're living in today, where technology is, while a very useful tool, it's also quite a potent influence, and it's very easy to be inundated with the influence of these things and kind of fall off of our center and start to feel unwell mentally or physically or emotionally or spiritually. So I'm just really grateful to be here. And as Sarah mentioned, and as the title of tonight's call alludes to, we're going to be working with this one key piece of psychosynthesis, which is the will. So I'm curious, when I talk about the will, what comes up for you? How would you define the will, or what are some words that you think of when I say the will? Feel free to just come off mute and popcorn your voices into the space. No wrong answers, by the way.
I'll go for me, will is the part of you that has control over trying despite what it is that is difficult. I know that sounds like hard to, I know that doesn't make sense, but like for me, it's like this idea of like even when I really want to go on my phone, or like even when I really want to react or like get upset about something, like will's the one thing that I always have that always gives me power in any situation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Colum. Yeah, I'm hearing the will is this force that supports you in making choices that feel right for you and maybe overcoming the urge to make choices that don't feel right or aligned. In this work, we talk about the will being an aspect of the psyche that directs, to use Mary's word, and regulates all the other aspects of who we are. And will work isn't really found in many other places, or at least it certainly wasn't found in the early 1900s. And so it was something that Roberto Assagioli was super passionate about. He wrote a whole book called The Act of Will. And in psychosynthesis, the will becomes important because it's paired with awareness, and this beautiful center or seat of our soul, seat of our self, for lack of a better word, is comprised of awareness and will. And they say, like, this is the closest thing you can get to identifying, like, who am I at my deepest core? What is my essence if I take away all of the roles and the masks and all the aspects of things like I'm a mother or I'm a teacher, or I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm someone who keeps my house clean, I'm someone who is a chaotic mess. You know, all of these different ways we describe ourselves, if we really distill it down into like the most essential you that you are, it's awareness and will. Now, in the self-development world or the spiritual worlds, awareness is huge. We talk about awareness and it's beautiful. Awareness is how we open the door to creating any kind of change that we want to create for ourselves, starting to be able to see and reflect and notice. And if we stop at awareness without will, we'll just be noticing and noticing and noticing till the end of time. And this was one of the biggest ahas for me when I was learning about psychosynthesis. I was a very self-aware person, and I could journal all day about all the different things that I noticed about myself and the ways that I might do things that I knew weren't the best version of me. And yet, no matter how much I noticed, I repeated those patterns over and over again. And so the will really comes as this powerful revelation because it starts to give us a sense and a feel to where in myself is the part of me that actually helps me create sustainable change, to continue to evolve and become more and more self or soul aligned. So, with the will, we also speak about, I'll bring in another beautiful analogy. This is the analogy of the conductor. The conductor is in like the conductor of an orchestra, right? So the will is able to take in the entire orchestra. If the orchestra, if we have the trumpet player and we have the drums and we have some string instruments and we have some flutes, these are all parts of us, right? And the conductor is in support of a harmonious collective experience within ourselves. It's about really bringing harmony and synthesis between all of our parts. I love that analogy and that imagery. And just as we can have the will that's aligned with ourselves, thinking to what Colin was speaking to, right? Like our will helps us decide we're not going to scroll on our phones right now. That's will alignment, or the will that's aligned with self. We can also have our will be hijacked by parts of us, our own parts. We can have our will be hijacked by wounded parts of us that hold limiting beliefs, self-doubt. No one cares what I have to say. I'm not worthy. If it's not perfect, I should throw it away, right? Those parts can hijack our ability to choose in directions that don't feel authentic to who we are. And so as we're leaning into reclaiming our will, the work that we're up to here is how can we align the will with our most authentic truth, or with ourself, or with our wise inner knowing of what is truly in service to us. And we all know that sense of, choosing into something and knowing that it's not in service, right? Or not choosing into something because we're feeling scared or doubtful, and we know that that is the thing for us, but we hold ourselves back. So with all of that being said, there's just a sweet intro to the will. I want you guys to grab your papers, your journals, your pens. We're going to get an experience of our will together here. And what we're going to do at the very top of your page is write down a goal or an aim, something that you're hoping to achieve in your life. And it could be something very internal, like I want to, meditate every night before bed. Or it could be very, 3D. It could be, I want to renew my vehicle registration by the end of the month. Or I want to clean out my garage by the end of the year. The only requirement is that it's actually something that you currently are hoping or wanting to achieve. So go ahead and think about that. And when you have your goal, write it at the top of your page. I'll give you guys just a moment or so to do that. And then once you've written your goal, you're going to write a numbered list underneath it on your paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to put some sentence starters next to those numbers. So next to number 1, you're going to write, I want to. I want to. And I don't know if you're able to, Sarah, maybe you could put these in the chat box just so if I'm going too fast and people need to refer back to them, they could see that.
I'll do that.
Awesome. Yeah, so number 1 is I want to. Number 2 is going to read, I'll try to. I'll try to. Number 3, I should. Number 4, I am choosing to. I am choosing to. And number 5, I will. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what we're doing here. You are going to take your goal that you wrote at the top of your page, and you're going to go through each of these sentences and you're going to read them out loud with your goal attached. You're going to do this out loud. So if you're not muted, I recommend muting yourself so you can have the privacy to read that out loud and just know that you're in your own little space. And I want you to start, before you read anything, to take a breath and to just go into this with the intention of really noticing how it feels to read each one. So you might go a little bit slower than you normally would read, right? You're going to be doing this in somewhat of a meditative way where you are reading You're breathing. You're noticing how each sentence lands in your system. What comes up for you? Do any of these sound familiar, like your own inner dialogue? Do some feel authentic and some feel less so? And your goal will stay the same. So the end of every sentence will stay the same. So for example, if my goal is meditating every night before bed, I would, presence, take a breath, and then I would say, I want to meditate before bed every night. I'll try to meditate before bed every night. I should meditate before bed every night. I am choosing to meditate before bed every night, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be quiet and give you guys the space to go ahead and dive in and read those out loud. It looks like most of us are done. I can't see everyone on the screen, but I'd love to hear from you guys. What was that like? What did you notice? Was there anything that surprised you? The space is open. Feel free to come off mute if you're willing to bring your voice in and share what that experience was like for you.
So I did this exercise with you before for the intro class to PSI, which was cool. And definitely the I'll try to, and especially I should is I should is a phrase that I've been working to move away from because the shoulding is so negative and feels like it's not coming from me. Okay, society's telling me I am a woman, so I have to act XYZ ways, or I'm this sort of role in my life. So stuff like that, the I should is very disempowering. And that's the strongest one to me. I think the other ones are okay. Like I try to is not really giving direction either. But I think for me, I'm choosing to, and I will. They're strong. Like the 1, 2 is a good start, right? Okay, I want to, but then it's like, okay, awareness, and then the action would be the I'm choosing to, and I will, at least in my experience.
Love that. Yeah, there's definitely a felt sense of like building of momentum as you move through, going from feeling like maybe a little ick, a little obligation, a little like this is conditioning from an external source, especially I should. And as we move through, those last two especially seem to feel more and more empowered. There's more power, there's more juice, there's more momentum there for sure. Is there anyone else that wants to get their voice in here?
I was going to say, by the time I got to the fifth one, it was like I was convincing myself. I will do this. It, it was kind of a process from 1 to 5. If that makes sense.
Oh, totally. That makes sense, Nancy. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Like by the time you got to 5, you felt like you were more convinced or like more leaning in and more likely that you might actually do the thing. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yes, like, well, you said empowered. That's an even better word, I think.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
I don't know if this is like what you're looking for, if this is the way I should answer, but it kind of felt like when I was doing it, like I wasn't thinking of it. I just kind of let whatever my brain came up with, just do it. And then I feel like that gave me, I feel like I knew what I was supposed to be doing all along. And it kind of just, I didn't have to think about it, you know, it's just like it was always there.
Mm,
That was my
that's
experience.
yeah, that's juicy. There's no right or wrong. I'm not looking for anything. It's really just an invitation to feel into the stories that we might tell ourselves, where will alignment, what that feels like in our bodies, right? As we move through those sentence starters. And also, this is a beautiful way to test if there's something that you have on your to-do list, right? Or if there's a habit that you're wanting to challenge or something that you feel like you need to do, especially if you're resistant or you notice that you're avoiding it. Doing this exercise can kind of help you tease apart, like, is this aligned to me? Is this purposeful? Is this authentic? Or is this coming from, a part of me? Is this coming from someone in my life that's really like imposing that they think I should do this for myself? So there's no right or wrong answers to this exercise. It's a tool and it's kind of an exploration to start feeling into this gradient of our will and how online or not online it is in service to something we're seeking to achieve. So I hope that was fun. There's so much more I could say about will and the way that it works in psychosynthesis and in our lives. But with this closing here, the invitation that I want to leave us all with is notice a time in your life, a place in your life where you feel all in. Maybe it's like showing up for my children, like I feel all in there, or something else, something that's true for you. And then ask yourself what's purposeful or meaningful about that thing where my will flows, right? My will flows. I'm all in. And what is it about that that's meaningful to you? And how does that feel in your system? And capture that, because that is what it feels like to have full access to your will and to a will that's aligned with yourself. And from there, you can start to gauge, like take the pulse or the temperature on different aspects of your life and really get honest with ourselves. How aligned is our will with ourself here? And if it's not aligned, where is that coming from? Where's the need or the feeling of obligation to move towards or away from something? So thank you guys for your trust and for playing and listening and sharing. I know that there's going to be a space for questions, and I also want to invite Sarah's voice in here, or Fernando, if there's anything you guys want to add.
No, that was great, Ariana. If anybody has any questions you want to ask Ariana right now, this is the space, and then we'll close out. So if anybody wants to ask her about her work or psychosynthesis as well, this is the space to ask. And also we'll send her website and Instagram after as well, and any other information that she wants us to share, her email, so you can also send her questions as well. But yeah, if anyone has a question, please ask it now. This is the time.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I missed this, but what got you into psychosynthesis?
Yeah, I'll just give you the short because I think everyone else already heard me give my spiel. But I started working in the field of herbal medicine and holistic coaching, and I recognized a pattern pretty quickly with my clients that they'd come for something ailing them physically. They'd come for something in their body that they wanted to work on, and after enough sessions together, time after time, the root cause would kind of reveal itself or bubble to the surface. And it was almost always something emotional, psychological, or spiritual. And so it became very clear that I was being called to expand my tool belt. And that's what brought me to the Psychospiritual Institute to learn psychosynthesis. And I've been with them ever since as a trainer and a student mentor.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys. Absolutely. Mm.
I guess I'll ask my question. How do you think how do you think this helps with something like a phone addiction or staying off technology?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, this is like dipping our toe into the water of working with our will. But in general, I would say that when we get more accustomed and more well-versed in knowing what it feels like to make choices that are aligned with our will, we start to strengthen that power that we have to move in ways that are aligned. Now, when we're talking about working with addiction, which is just as real with technology as it could be with sugar, as it could be with a harder substance, we have to be really compassionate with ourselves, right? And we have to lean on tools like having like a lockbox for our phones, right? It's like we don't just rely on, oh, if I'm really aligned with my will, I won't touch my phone even if it's on my bedside table, right? Because it's a substance and it neurologically programs the chemicals that make us dependent or feel dependent on it. And so then it's a matter of how do I align my will to set myself up for success, right? Having a lockbox for my phone or making sure that my phone is turned off until 10 a.m. and I commit to myself that I'm not going to turn it on, right? So in that case, we're really using our will to create plans and systems and structures to support ourselves moving in the way that we want. Like, I don't want to be on my phone until 10 a.m. I don't want to be scrolling before bed. So what do I need to do? And how can I set myself up so that I'm living that life in right relation with technology? That's what I would say to that. It's a very, especially with the phones, it is like cutting edge $1 million question, I think, especially for generations like us, where we kind of grew up with this technology and we're like integrated with it, right? There's such a high demand and such a deep need for continuing to look at how we support a generation that can use technology but not be used by technology. And I wonder what Roberto Assagelli would say in the early 1900s. I bet he had no idea we'd be holding little computers in our pockets every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they said even when I was in elementary school, you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. Well, they were very wrong. So, but thank you so much, Ariana. I love the thread at the end, right? That the will is a tool. Getting in tune with that can help us to start to realize what we really want to do with our lives and to start aligning towards that. And that's what we're doing at the Mindful Tech Club, is helping people to reconnect with joy and presence and actually what do you really want? Because it's so easy for us to just, let me just go on Instagram. I'll just watch one cat video. An hour later, you're watching 50 cat videos. I don't think that's how you wanted to spend your time, but it's so easy because of that. It's just instant connection and it's right there. So what we're doing here is building community. And part of that is that we are going to run our first cohort starting in January. It's going to be around mid-January to help people solidify their goals for the year around technology, and then maybe other goals that they have around building community or having accountability as well. So if anyone's interested in the first cohort, you can book an info call with us. And for the next 7 weeks, not including today, we're going to be running a digital wellness series where we're learning to build different skills and have different guests as well. So we're going to have breath work, somatic movement. I'll be running an inner child visualization meditation to get in touch with joy. And we have some other people that we're still looking to add to the group. So it was great talking to all of you, learning a little bit more about y'all, about the will and questions that you've had as well. I know most of you in different capacities, different levels. But yeah, please share this with your friends. We just put the links in the chat. We're going to send a follow-up email. Please forward it to one person that you know that would benefit from learning mindfulness skills. Just one person, or bring your partner, bring your friends, bring your whoever in your life, bring your cat maybe. Although I don't know if they would benefit. They're already pretty mindful. At least mine is. Very lazy. But yeah, it was great having y'all here. And anything else you want to add, Fernando, to what I just said? Aside, I just thanks again, Ariana. It was really awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ariana. And thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you very much.